It's a bit of a different video. As you can see, I'm currently sporting my hoodie from Marathon Eryri. So basically, so I had intended on making like a video of the actual race, but the weather on the day just made it just logistically impossible for me. So I've got clips to to tag in to just show you some of the just stunning views of that course. I think I fell in love with that course on that Saturday, even with the weather. So yeah, this is going to be more of like a debrief video then. So how can I explain it? So, well, registration. So me and my better half, we got there the night before. So I managed to do the registration and everything on the Friday night, thinking, right, gives me plenty of time then in the morning not to have to worry or anything. So that was all sorted. Had food. We had an early night. Morning of the race. So we were staying in Beirgelert, so it's like a half-hour drive to Llanberis where the start is, where there is a road closure on the way in. That becomes crucial in a second. And about halfway down the Pen y Pass climb, which we eventually I'd eventually be running up, I suddenly thought, I was like, ooh, where's my watch? And proceeded to have, I would describe it as, I was very chill about it. But my other half would beg to differ, and I would probably beg to differ as well, but I'll pretend that I was very chill about it. So yeah, so that was a great start. So we, having not cried, just completely cried. So so there wasn't actually any data for the run. Although a good friend of mine, Pete, fair play to him, he did offer me, because he carries a spare watch, and he did offer, but I was okay. So yeah, we got to Llanberis, couldn't find anywhere to park, so my stress levels were just, I'm not great under pressure anyway, when it comes to stuff like that. Then before I was getting out the car, one of my flexible sort of water flasks, one of them the top decided to just come a little bit loose, so I was soaking myself in a little bit of my electrolytes, which was fun. So as you can guess, I wasn't doing well at the start. But yeah, so I got dropped off, I made my way to the start. By then, I'd come to terms with the fact that I wasn't going to have a watch. I decided, all right, I'll just set something on my phone so I've got something. But in fairness, and I genuinely mean this, I think I enjoyed the experience more without the watch. Because then you were just listening to your body, I think. I might be wrong, but there was nothing to look at on my wrist, so it was just look around, enjoy the views. And yeah, so we got to the start. I found myself crying because they played the Welsh national anthem at the start. I'm very much a nationalist, so there I was crying. And then off we went. So the first 2 miles is quite flat. We had a brass band at one point as well, which was cool. So it's fairly flat, so I just sort of potted along. I was like, right, don't go dull. Keep something in the tank for the end. And I was just mootling along. Eventually I can't remember, was it before the climb in Pen y Pass, or was it during the climb for Pen y Pass? I got close to the 5.5 hour pacer, which was mind-boggling to me. I went into this race with the only goal I had was to finish, and then I had two, not even it was just beyond my wildest dreams, but we'll come to talk about that at the end. So I was mutiling along, got to Pen y Pass climb, and just started to sort of trudge along it. I'm like a diesel engine, I like to think, so I just potted back up the climb. I actually really enjoyed that climb. The weather was atrocious. We had hail, we had rain, we had wind, and I loved it. I don't think I stopped smiling the whole climb. So I sort of ran up this climb, got to the top, saw my old music teacher, so we had a nice little chat then on the descent. On the descent down to, sorry, I made a couple of notes. Yeah, Pen y Eryri, the name of the pub, is basically where you then join the first section, a trail section, which is, I again, absolutely adored that. There was stunning views of the lakes on the way down, so I was just in my element. And then so we came out onto the road then. I think we rejoined the road at about mile 9, I want to say, or 8. And then it was just a bit of a flat section into Beirdd Gaelert. And coming into Beirdd Gaelert was amazing. Like, just when your name's on your bib, you don't really think about it. And then when somebody shouts your name and says, go on, it does just give you a boost. But at that point, I was feeling really strong. I'd been taking on liquids. And I was like, okay, this is okay. But I knew there was still 2 more, there was plenty of little climbs and stuff, but there was 2 big climbs to go. And one of them is basically immediately as you leave Beirdd Gaelert. So as you're running out of Beirdd Gaelert, you then start what is like a 2-ish mile climb to Rhyd Ddu. And it's quite gentle, but it's pretty demoralising, I think, more than anything. There's a few guys that I know quite well who I sort of picked off on that climb. And speaking to them at the end, they were just like, no, my brain was gone at that one, and I didn't see them again. So I was just sort of ticking off places on the way up. Got into Rhyd Ddu, gave myself a double hamstring cramp because foolishly there was a little kid. He was reaching down off like what was probably about a 10-foot wall, so where my head was going. He was reaching down to give people high fives. Nobody was really sort of acknowledging him, and I thought, oh, I could feel quite bad for this kid. So sort of, I wouldn't say ran over, I sort of jogged over, leapt up to try and give him a high five. Didn't get anywhere near the high five, and when I landed, both my hamstrings went into cramp. So yeah, mental note, don't do that. So thankfully they eased up quite quickly, so I sort of ran a little bit and they both eased up. And then we came there was an aid station in Rhyd Ddu, so I just took water there and sort of carried on running for a bit then. And then from Rhyd Ddu almost to the very last climb almost. So the last climb, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes again. So you've got along like Llyn Cwellyn towards Waun Fawr. It's quite a flat section with just incredible views. If you ever do the course, don't forget to just look around, because my God, doesn't matter how much of a world of pain you're in, there's support constantly on the course. And yeah, no, the views are just out of this world. And then, so as we were coming into, no, it wasn't then actually, no, tell a lie. So before that, I bumped into a couple of guys that I know basically online. And I was running along them, I was like, oh, you know what, I might be in a good place here, because these boys are like ultra runners, pretty, I would argue, pretty good levels. I'm like, oh, okay, we're in a decent place here. I'm okay with this. And yeah, no, I was quite shocked how strong I was still feeling. I'd also already decided before the start. So the climb from Waun Fawr to mile 25, is it, or 24? It's meaty. And I decided a week out, basically, I decided, right, run the Pen y Pass climb. If you can run all of that climb, run the Rhyd Ddu climb, and then walk Waun Fawr to leave something in the legs for the final descent and the sprint finish. So that's what I did. As I came into the village of Waun Fawr, I just started marching and just marched to the very top of where there's an amazing aid station at the top where it was Christmas themed. Which, like I said to one of my friends, if you hadn't fueled or hydrated well that day, you could easily think that you were having a fever dream and you were having a really bad sort of hallucination. But yeah, so I took some water, took a couple of pieces of watermelon, and I think some biscuits, I can't remember. So a lot of people would stop for a cup of tea, and I was thinking I was going to do that, but the fact I was with these guys, I was like, oh, you know what, I might be in a good place here, so we'll carry on. And then came the final descent, which, as a trail runner in trail shoes, I would have adored. As somebody who was wearing road shoes, oof, boy, dodgy. So there was one guy, he fell about, I lost count how many times the poor bugger fell in front of me, and I'd stopped and was like, "You're right, mate," and sort of we carried on. Eventually we got to tarmac after what felt like hours of just trying not to fall on my ass and ruin my own race. If I was anywhere near front pack, fair enough, I'd have run, but I couldn't understand people that were running and just falling over. I was just like, just get down. At this point, none of us are going to win anything. Just make sure that you actually get down safe. Then we got to the tarmac. I overtook a girl vaping, which blew my mind. Blew my mind that it took me that long to overtake somebody that was vaping. Which says, I think that says more about me than anything. Yeah, no, that was odd. And then it's quite a steep descent into Llanberis, which at that point your legs are just screaming. Your quads are, anyway. And then we were coming down into the final straight, come round the final bend, and you can basically see the finish line. It's like, right, just put a shifty in here now. And yeah, we got it done. I was cramping by the end, so my gait was a bit odd. I wanted to like open out and let it go, but I also didn't want to tear anything. And yeah, we got it done. So I think the chip time in the end was 5:17 something. I can't remember what it was exactly. I'll put like the data up. Yeah, so my goal for the race was finish. I was very realistic. My like best case scenario, I thought, oh, you know what, if I could get under 6 hours, I'll be chuffed. Beyond my wildest dreams, I didn't think sub 5.5 was on. And yeah, I think if the weather had been better, I could have creeped under 5 hours if that last descent was dry and could have like opened out. I generally think I could have gone under 5, which gives me something to aim for, hopefully for next year, because I've fallen in love with this event. I think I'd happily do it every year for the rest of my life whilst I'm able to, because it was amazing. But yeah, so hopefully you found something interesting of this. Hopefully the clips at least do it some sort of justice as to just how pretty it is. It also has like for quite a big event, it's got a real sort of local event feel to it, which is really nice. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed the video, and yeah, if you could like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you in the next one. I would say to the belly, but the camera's too far away and I can't, so I'll just reach the hoodie towards it. It's a lovely colour on the hoodie as well. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.